Hi, everyone. I see y'all are starting to come in. We will get started in a little bit. I'm going to let more and more people come in, but you are all signing up or being a part of Planoly Presents Summer Content Camp, Camera Roll Call, photo editing with the talented Tezza Barton. So we're super excited to have her leading this today. And please, yes, share on the chat box where you're all from, where you're joining us from. Note that you do have the option for panelists and attendees. So if you can put panelists and attendees and share where you're joining us from, that'd be great so that everyone else can see as well. Yay, oh wow.
Coming in.
Woohoo, all over the world. Yes. Well, we're all excited for you to be here, and thank you for taking time out of your schedule. Since we do have a good amount of people, I'll kind of do an introduction. So welcome to Planoly Presents Summer Content Camp. This is Camera Roll Photo Editing with Tezza Barton. We're on the third week of Planoly Presents, and we have 2 more weeks to go. If you have missed any of them, these are being recorded and they will be sent. This one is being sent out to you when you registered after a couple of days. But we also have the old ones in our website from the previous weeks if you'd like to catch those. And I'm Marlene Ramirez. I'm the Senior Manager of Partnerships here at Planoly. Our team brings together these types of programs for y'all and gets to work with amazing and talented people like Tezza. So really happy for today. For some of you who Planoly might be new, we started 5 years ago as the first visual planner for Instagram and have grown into industry-leading social marketing platform. So we're trusted by over 5 million users to visually plan, schedule, measure performance on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest. So a lot of people don't know that we're not just on web, we are also on app. And so it makes it really easy to plan and schedule your content when you're on the go. And also if you turn on your notifications, it'll let you know when your content goes live. So we are giving a free month of Planoly, and that code will be in the chat box. So our team will be sharing that in there. And then just some quick housekeeping. So we love for y'all to share like about yourself, your IG handles, but if you can just keep that for the Facebook group and just leave the chat box for conversations around this workshop, it allows people to be more engaged and also get questions answered among attendees about the workshop. So please hold off on your IG handles for the Facebook page. And also please be kind. This is a safe space, so be nice to each other. And we're really excited to kick it off. We do have the Q&A box for your questions. So since the chat box is more for attendees communication, please add your questions in the Q&A box and we'll have 15 minutes at the end to go over them. So just a quick, I will let Tezza introduce herself, but I'll introduce a little bit about her too. She is an entrepreneur and founder of the Tezza app. I've been following her along for a while, and you can catch kind of her aesthetic immediately. It's very photo driven, it's very editorial. And for a lot of you, you might not know, she actually has a fine art and commercial photographer, and she's been a fine art and commercial photographer for the past 10 years. So she is very experienced in this topic and has worked as a creative director and in production in brands such as Tresemme, Beholden, Anthropology, Retrofit, and Tommy Hilfiger, to name a few. So I will kick it off to Tezza, and thank you all so much. Thank you, Tezza.
Thanks, Marlene. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be doing this class today. Thank you for joining. It really means a lot, and I hope I can kind of give you guys some good background and teach you a little something. And please, if you have any further questions, feel free to start asking them. I'm going to share my screen with you so we can all be on the same page, but let's see here. Okay, yeah, so camera roll call, that's gonna be our class today. I know Marlene just gave a little intro, but a little bit more about me. I kind of, I studied photography in school, fine art and photography, and I really graduated at kind of the time when social media has just started booming. And so I started working with brands and really helping them figure out how to create enough content to keep up with social media, because at the time, no one knew how to create that much content to make it relatable. to also make, to just be able to, it was kind of pre-influencer, pre all this kind of thing. So I worked with brands like Skull Candy, Urban Outfitters, Free People, just to name a few, and really kind of help them create really engaging and fun content. And so that's kind of when I saw, that there was just something happening within social media and photography. And I really wanted to not only just figure out, how I could work as a photographer in that space, but also realized, I had something different. My photography was super story driven. And I really wanted to not only just like have a place to post it, but also engage with people and really help other people be able to create that kind of content as well. And so early on, I really made my focus of my social media platform just about educating everybody on, photography and how you can take amazing pictures as well, because I feel like everyone should be able to do it. And I loved that, social media really invited everyone to find their inner creator. And that's been a major focus of my brand and what I focus on. So first things first, I'm going to go over just kind of like how you can find your visual identity. So, I think when you're just getting started, or say you're already started, it can feel really overwhelming, even for someone who's been posting and creating content for over 10 years. I sometimes am like, what am I doing? What's my vibe? And I think it can be really easy to get just a little bit overwhelmed. So something and a rule that I've done since day one, and I think is super helpful, is to just think of, your content or your page or your brand, whatever it is, kind of like a magazine, and think about, what's the audience, who's reading this, what are they going to be interested in, and how can all the types of content you want to create work together, whether you're a brand and you have like, messaging you want to get out, but also you're visually driven, there are just so many different things you can be thinking about. And I think once you can kind of think of it like a magazine, you can understand the way it should make somebody feel and who you're speaking to. And it kind of helps just clear up a few of those questions that I especially have early on and still have to this day. So just wanted to show you guys also a few examples of a few different Instagram feeds. And like, I feel like, we've come to a place where there are so many different ways you can do it. So this is not to say like, this is exactly how it should be done, but just some 3 examples that might be helpful for you guys. So on the left, we have, okay, Dion, he's an amazing photographer and storyteller. And you can tell, he really focuses on keeping his feed not only cohesive, but super artistic, and definitely like spends a lot of time thinking about like his colors and everything that's going into it. And that creates something that's, very visual, and what kind of brands are going to be hiring him. Say you want to be an influencer and you want to work with brands, you want to think about what kind of ads would go in your magazine. Is it high fashion? Are you, more lifestyle? Are you commercial? So those are all kind of words you maybe want to like think about when, thinking about what kind of content you're going to create and how people are going to relate to it. In the middle is a part of my feed, actually from 2 years ago. I used to have blonde hair, but this is more, I was really focused on the time at fashion and lifestyle. So trying to find a way to not only bring, traveling and just a lifestyle brand to life, but also working with fashion brands and creating content that was really visually capturing. And I definitely wasn't focused on, my feed. Is my feed going to be perfect? I think I'll kind of touch on how you can work on that. But I think like first impressions, obviously, when you're trying to grow or get people to come to your page, you want to know what people are, you want to establish, I guess, early on what somebody is coming to see at your feed. So the second they're there, they know what they're going to get within those first couple of rows. You don't want somebody to have to scroll really deep to figure it out. So another great example of that is the feed on the right. This is Melissa Wood Health. She is an incredible fitness coach, and you just know exactly what she's going to share. She's really focused on video content and, educating her community with, where you can work out, how you can work out at home, and all these kinds of things. And, her content kind of looks the same, and she kind of repeats these same look and feel over and over. And I think that's just like really helpful, especially as someone knows what they're going to get out of your Instagram feed, and also just helps you know what to post when you're in in a bind, because sometimes it's like, what am I going to post? I don't know. And so if you kind of have a little system in place, I think it's super helpful. So let's get into defining your editing style. I think the first thing to do is to kind of come up with what mood you're trying to portray, whether it's, you're creating this dreamy aesthetic or something that's very straightforward. It could be loud and fun. It could be minimal, kind of think of words that describe what kind of imagery or what your brand is all about. And I think just as simple as it sounds and basic, but like getting a piece of paper and writing down 3 words that describe how you want your images to feel, what you want them to look like. And if you're not sure, but other people's images that you like, other brands, other feeds, I would go to those and try and write down a few words that you're seeing from them. And that will really help you kind of understand what you're drawn to, what you like, and what you want to create. And then the oldest one in the book is sticking with one preset. So if you're somebody that wants to be editing or not editing, depending what it is, I'm obviously going to go over editing because that's something that I have focused on for the last 10 years. But if you use one preset, everything will kind of become cohesive, it doesn't mean that every photo has to be similar or relatable, but I think one preset kind of helps you have this overall beautiful cohesive feel and helps you achieve that exact mood that you're going for. So here are some examples of a few different feeds, and these are all part of my work, but on the left we have a feed using all one preset called Softy. These are all in the Tezza app, which is the app that my husband and I created really to help creators just be able to edit amazing content on the go and achieve, your dream aesthetic and be professional creators like you all are, I'm sure. So, and the middle one is called Rose. This is really to create, something that's super bright and vibey and happy and colorful. And then on the right, we have Cocoa, which is a little bit more moody and editorial. So, I think these are all examples of all these images are kind of similar. They're all within the same vein, but if you're using one similar preset, it'll just help you get that feel and look that you're going for. So next, we're going to go over your photo toolkit. Now, I just kind of wanted to go over the wide range, whether you're a beginner or somebody that's wanting to level up your content game. I'm going to kind of dig into both sides of this. And if you guys have any more specific questions, please come at me. But obviously, I think number one, your phone is your best friend as a content creator. It's so easy. It's something you always have with you. It's in your pocket. And the camera quality has become so amazing. I mean, I think of when I started 10 years ago, the phone just was not where it is today. So it's really amazing. And it has all the tools that you really need to create amazing content. And I also think that people enjoy content that's taken on a phone because they feel like they can relate to it. It feels like something they could also do. So I think there's something to be said about that. And I personally blend in, all 3 of these things that I'm going to talk about. And I think that works too. So you don't necessarily have to stick to one vibe. I think you can mix and match. But the next one, if you guys want to level up just a little bit from your phone, I would recommend the Canon G7X. This camera is awesome for so many reasons. One, it's this big, so you can put it in your pocket, which is kind of like a phone. So we love that. It's also really popular amongst not only Instagram people, but people that like to vlog and do YouTube and stuff like that. So I think like if you're somebody that's trying to, teeter that line of doing both and you're thinking about getting into YouTube, I highly recommend this camera. I wish I had it out with me, but the screen on the camera pulls away. So say you're filming yourself, you can still see yourself, similar to filming on an iPhone, which is super helpful. And it also has a built-in flash that works amazing. And I think sometimes the phone, is great, but the flash on the phone is not very good. So this is really great if you're shooting, late at night and you need to have something that's going to light up the scene or something like that. It's amazing. And the best part about it is that it has a Wi-Fi connect, so you can send photos from the camera directly to your phone. So it just cuts out a lot of the time of taking it to your computer and having to upload the images or something like that. You can just do it straight to your phone. And then last, if you really want to level up and you're looking for a DSLR, I recommend the Canon 6D. So I personally use a Canon 5D Mark IV, which is a level even up above this. But I honestly, you don't need a camera that crazy if you're not shooting for, you know, billboards or crazy high level campaigns. This camera is so amazing, and it can do all the same things that a really, really nice camera can do, but it's much more affordable. I've recommended it to basically all of my siblings. They all love and use it now. And it takes, you know, much more professional images. So if you're somebody that's wanting to work with brands, like for example, I work with a lot of brands that hire me to create content for Instagram, but they also want to be using it for email campaigns and, you know, bigger e-commerce ads and things like that. So this camera will allow you to get that kind of quality that brands will pay you extra for, so they can use that content across their platforms as well. So next is just a little tip that if, you know, I like to always say this, but reimagine your inspiration, because I think, you know, sometimes we see images and we think, gosh, I just love that picture. I can't figure out why. And so a great learning technique, and something that I definitely did early on, was, you know, try and recreate an image that you love, just to understand, you know, what's happening in the image and why you like it. So it could be, you know, the lighting, the composition, the angles, and it's such a great way to really learn and level up your photography game if you don't have somebody around to help you out. So this is something I highly recommend doing, and it's even just kind of fun to see if, like, just to test yourself and give yourself a little project, see if it's something that you can do. I still do this to this day because I'm still trying to level up my game. So I think this is a fun little tip that I like to share. And then my favorite thing to talk about is, you know, the word photography actually means writing with light. And so I think once I heard that, I kind of, everything clicked in my head. I was like, oh, it's really just about understanding the lighting. You will really understand photography. And so these are just kind of 3 examples of lighting that I think about and use every day. So for example, on the left, we have backlight. So that's when the sun's coming directly from behind you. And, you know, this obviously, like, depending on where you are in the situation, I think it can create this really dreamy, beautiful glow. And for example, here we have a nice lens flare coming through because of the sun, which is always fun and very interesting. And I think people are really drawn to images like this on social media. So it's a really fun one to play with. Another one is direct light. So this is obviously when the sun is just hitting you directly all across wherever. I'm speaking, you know, to more, I think, images of people, because that's where my focus is. But whether you're shooting products or landscapes or whatever it is, you can still be thinking about lighting in this way. And then on the right, we have even lighting. So that's kind of like shade or cloudy day or anything when there's just kind of this all natural, even light. So, you know, all 3 of these are examples of when the lighting is good and the way you can use it to your best of ability. But there are times when the lighting is not good. So I just kind of wanted to go over how I can help you guys find the best light. And this is something that, you know, it's the first thing I do when I'm going to take a photo. I think, okay, where is the light? How can I use it to really make this image actually work? So I'm going to try my best right now to show you this little trick that I do every day, but it's a little bit hard in this scenario. So I use my hand, and I like to stick it out and look at where the sun is hitting my hand. So that's usually, like, say I'm sticking my hand out and the sun is hitting here. That's when I know, okay, that's where I want my face to be in the image. So I'm going to face the camera that way. So to just show you a little example, I'm going to use my flashlight of my phone. But so for example, right now, this would be like I'd be wanting to face the light right here. When the sun moves over this way, you know, then only this half of my face is getting lit and this half is going to be dark. So it's not very flattering unless I'm like really trying to create this cool editorial mood and it's working. But one thing that you definitely want to avoid, that I always avoid because I end up never liking the images, is when the sun is directly above my head. So if you have to shoot in that lighting, you can figure it out, you know, do tips like leaning your head up this way, really trying to let the light soak down, or find just some beautiful shade or a tree or something like that. But really what lighting that creates is, you know, when someone's trying to tell a scary story, and they have a flashlight under your face and it creates all these scary shadows and things. That's what it's basically doing from the top of your head. So we just avoid that at all costs because it's way easier and you don't have to feel like you look bad in a photo. Another tip that I did not write on here, but I wanted to share with you guys, and another reason I love using that G7X little camera is if you do have to shoot in horrible lighting, you can use a flash in the middle of the day. It has a totally different look, a very editorial feel, and it will actually just, get rid of whatever weird light is happening and light you up. I guess that's a weird way to say it, but you understand what I mean. So I think like there are always ways to work around lighting, but I personally am much happier when I choose, to shoot at specific times of the day where I know the lighting is going to work, and it makes all the photo taking much easier and the whole editing process easier as well. So next, we're going to go over tips for shooting on your phone. I think, the phone, once again, like I said, it's amazing. So I'm going to share just a few little tips that I do that I think, add a little something extra rather than just having somebody stand there with your camera. So first one is try using the zoom effect. I think when you use the zoom effect, like I like to go all the way up to 2.5, and it really kind of flattens the image and creates brings everything to the same level, which is similar to something you could do with like a zoom lens as a photographer, but this is something you can do on your phone. And it really just helps kind of bring more texture and feel into the image. So here's an image on the left just to show you guys kind of what it looks like. And just go out and try it. I promise you'll be like, wow, that has a really cool effect. It's kind of hard to explain. I wish I had it side by side to show you what it would look like without the zoom and with the zoom, but it's really fun to play with. Excuse me. And then don't forget about portrait mode. I think portrait mode is insane. And what's so cool about it is it emulates shooting with a 50mm 1.4, where you can get that blurry background and that f-stop really low. Which I know some of you might not know what that is. I'll kind of go into that in just a little bit, but it really helps focus on, whatever you're trying to show really crisp and clear in your image. And one thing that a lot of people don't know, I'm not sure about other phones, but on an iPhone, you're able to, say you take a photo on portrait mode, you are able to change where the blur is happening after the fact. So if it's not quite right and it's cutting certain things out that you don't want it to cut out, you actually can fix this in post, which is amazing. And I think it just creates something that's super sharp and professional looking. It's really good when taking, product shots or food shots or portrait images. So those are a few tips. Next, I want to go over a tip if you guys don't have a photographer, and I want to give you some tips to get you through, because I also don't always have somebody to take my image and I don't know what to do. And I'm trying to, work as fast as I can. So I love this app. It's called Lens Buddy. And this app, I'm going to tell you all the reasons that it's amazing, but one, it can take anywhere from 3 to 120 images, at a time. So you can just click the button and it could take up to 120 images. So one, that's so helpful if you just want to be caught in a moment, and you can be kind of moving around, posing, whatever. It's amazing and helps you get the job done. But it also makes a sound in between each shot that it's taking. So you know when to change your pose, and when you're done, and it's amazing. And then last, it even allows you to use portrait mode and a flash when you need it. So it just can say it's a lifesaver. But the other thing I want to mention is that if you have this app, you also might want to invest in this little tripod, because this way you don't have to just find somewhere to set your phone. This tripod is amazing. It's small. It can go anywhere with you. I found this one, and this is the one that I use. It was $23 on Amazon. So worth the investment. It just saves my life. And also it comes with this little clicker if that's something you want to use, so that instead of just having to use the app, you could use this little clicker to press it, and you just kind of would have to pose and hide it. Trust me, it's doable. I've seen people do it all the time, and I do it as well, but the app paired with this tripod is extremely helpful. Next, I just want to go over, so even lighting, and I know we kind of briefly talked about this, but when shooting on your phone, even lighting is your best friend. So really what that means is, for example, on the left, I'm in like all even shade here. There's not like some crazy lighting coming from any way. It's just, I know the phone is going to be able to capture the image and make it super crisp. And then the two images on the right are both taken in direct lighting. So every single part is, perfectly lit. It's not coming from above. It's not coming from the side. One thing that I don't like that the phone does do is if you are trying to shoot, say you're in the shade, but the background's in the light, it's going to try and compress the image and make it a little bit funky and kind of look high def. And so it's something I find super frustrating and doesn't end up really coming out very well. So if you just think about finding that even light, putting your hand out, figuring out how you can always be in that, even lighting, no matter where it is, you'll be a lot happier. So next, I'm just going to briefly go over these. If you guys are, I know I got some questions on Instagram about this, so I just wanted to briefly run over it. If you're somebody that's really looking to invest in lenses, I think lenses are almost more important than the camera body that you're going to be using, because they really help you get the look and feel that you're going for. So these are 3 lenses that I keep in my bag at all times and I use, and I'll explain why I use them just really quickly. And if you guys want to take screenshots or have questions on them, please let me know. But a 16 to 35 millimeter is a great lens. It helps you get like a really dramatic angle and offers a wider perspective. So if you're somebody that's doing, a lot of travel or really into kind of like more funky fashion images, things like that, this lens just helps you kind of get a little bit more creative and offer a different perspective. And it gets kind of, I think people really are drawn to it just through social media because it's kind of such a different perspective. Next is like a 50 millimeter or a 35 millimeter lens that can have an f-stop that goes down to 1.4. So when your f-stop can go down to 1.4, that just means that it can kind of really create that beautiful blurry background that you see in images. And I know a lot of people really enjoy this look. It looks very clean and professional. And like, for example, a 50 millimeter is a lens that I had in my bag for 4 years before I ever got another lens. And I loved it. I didn't have anything else. And I still use this lens to this day. So I think it's super helpful and amazing. And if you're going to only get one lens to start, I would recommend that one. And then last is the 24 to 70. This is the most versatile lens. I would say every photographer has this lens in their bag. It's something that, looks good basically anywhere. It's super professional looking and crisp. And it is a zoom lens. The other ones that I mentioned are a little bit more fixed. So that's something that you can definitely play around with. And I recommend just like renting a lens before you buy one so you can understand what you like about the lens. So that's enough about that. But now I wanted to get into, apps that I have on my phone. I don't like to have too many. I think there are so many great apps out there, but really I like to use the same ones kind of over and over so I can just kind of perfect my workflow. So one I already mentioned was Lens Buddy, but next is Planoly. Obviously, we're so grateful for them to be doing this amazing workshop, and I'm really grateful to be a part of it because I really am such a fan of the app. And when you're somebody that is trying to plan out your feed and really make sure, it's looking amazing, I love this app, and it helps you kind of prepare your content for up to a week. And so further than that, but that's as far as I usually can get ahead of my content game. So I really love it. And it helps you kind of understand your, what time you should be posting and all of those amazing things. I'm sure you guys all have the app, but I love it. Next is Video Shop. So if you guys have ever used or heard of like Final Cut Pro or like iMovie or any of those kinds of software that are found on a desktop, this app can basically do all those things and more. I think, Reels and video content, TikTok, all of that have become so important these days. And so this app really allows you to basically do anything that you want. They offer so much music, but they also have license-free music. So if you are creating an ad or something like that, you can actually find it on this app, which is so helpful. And then the last one I, of course, have to talk about, because this is the app that I use every day, is the Tezza app. So, we really created this app to help all creators be able to create, the best content that they could and really achieve, their aesthetic for their own brand. And so we have anything from editing tools, video tools, to also templates. And really we try and focus on creating things that, you know, will help you create all different kinds of content with just the photos that you have on your phone. So I'm going to kind of give you guys a little bit of a demo to show you what you can find within the app and how you can use it to the best of its ability. So we're going to do a little editing 101. I'm going to share my phone with you guys, and then I'm also going to go over our templates within the app and show you guys how you can use those for your Instagram stories, your feed, whatever it may be. So I need to do this 1 second. You know, technology. I'm not. Okay, wait, iPhone. Okay. Whoops. Okay. So hopefully, I think you guys can see my phone, right? Cool. So here we are, we're in the app, and I'm just going to show you guys a little example of how I would edit an image and why I would edit it the way that I would. So we're going to start with this picture here. And of course, okay, it's being a little bit laggy. But so we have all these different presets. I usually stick with, you know, the same 1 or 2 presets. For this one, I'm going to go with Softy, and I usually only turn it up about, you know, halfway depending on the image. And after that, something I always like to do with my images is bring up the shadows, because I just think it really helps bring out some of the detail, and whether it's in the hair or the clothes or whatever it is, it really just kind of makes the photo pop a little bit more. And I'm somebody that is super intrigued by film. I love the effortless look of it. It's something that's definitely very, I would say, trendy on Instagram right now, and people are really drawn to. So I've always been a super big fan of grain. And one thing you can do within the app is you can press down and hold the image to see the before and after. So as you're editing, you know what it's looking like. So honestly, I wouldn't do a whole lot more than that. One thing I really like is this HSL tool. So say the skin tone isn't quite where you want it to be, you know, you could just come here and click the orange and kind of just change it even just a little bit. And I think that like is exactly where I would want it. And then there's one other cool little tool in here that I sometimes use. I wanted to share with you guys. We have this new blur tool. And so this is if you're really into the film look. And like I said, I am, but I like this little motion. So if I just add, you know, barely a little bit, it kind of gives the photo that soft movement that you would get with a film photo, kind of like a scan. So you can just really see the difference of what that looks like. And that will help me kind of keep my overall same aesthetic that I love and enjoy. So that's one example. And then one of my favorite tools about the app, and something that I'll touch on in a little bit as well, is just that our copy and paste feature. So maybe I have like 10 different images from this shoot, and I don't want to, I know they're all in that same lighting. I can just copy that edit by pressing this copy button. And then I could click any of the images I have imported in here that I want to paste that edit to, and press paste edit. And now those have the exact same edit on them, and I can save them to my camera roll, and I'm ready to post. So it just cuts out a lot of the editing time, and yeah, it's amazing. So one other thing I wanted to show you guys is within this part. So, you know, sometimes you really want to make a color pop, or if you're trying to keep your feed a little bit more cohesive, you want to change like the way the purple looks. Maybe the purple's not the exact hue that you want. So playing around with this HSL tool is just really helpful, and something I use basically every day. So you can kind of play here, like pull down the luminance of the purple so it's really standing out. Maybe bump up the saturation a little bit, and see like if the hue of my blues, if I turn it to the left, it's going to really have this nice blue tone. But if I bring it to the right, it'll make the purples a little bit more pink, which is the look that I'm going for. So you can really kind of control each little aspect of the image. I might bump up the yellow just a little bit to bring out the bag. And once again, you can hold it down to see the before and after. And it will just really help you kind of create the overall look and feel that you're going for with your images. So that is the first thing I wanted to talk about, and that's just quick little tips on photo editing. We also have lots of great video tools in here, and I think video is something that, you know, people are really drawn to, and when I go to a photo shoot, I'm thinking, okay, how can I get, 10 different things that I can use as content for the rest of the week? So I don't just have this one image, but I might also have a piece of video that I want to use and things like that. So one of my favorite tools in the app is our stop motion tool. So for example, here is a video from a photo shoot that we did recently for some sunglasses. If you click this FX button, you'll be introduced to all the video tools, but I like using the stop motion. It just kind of makes any little video a vibe. And that's the only way I can describe it, but it takes it from being kind of this awkward video of someone just posing to being this really cool vibe. You could also add this vintage film effect, excuse me, and then some different frames. So there's all these fun things you can do, and you can also share this to your feed or your story, whatever it may be. It works. I know a lot of like beauty bloggers and people love this just to kind of show some motion, but not, too much detail. So that's that. Now I want to show you guys our templates. We have all of these amazing template packs. We love to work with creators and bring new template packs. So if you guys are, artists in any way and want to work with us, we would love to hear from you. We would love to highlight your work. But one thing I want to show you guys, once again, like I said, we're always trying to figure out how can we create the most content out of what we have. So I love this zine pack, and I think it can be so helpful when creating content. So for example, say I wanted to share, let's choose this image. On my Instagram story, I'm launching a new bag brand. And so I want to talk about this bag brand. I love using the templates because they give you, not only just cool frames and looks and feels, but also text that you could, that you could use to kind of display, what the collection is or something like that. So sorry, it's hard to talk and do this at the same time. So for example, say this collection was called like Afterglow. You could change this and, it would be super engaging and very fun to look at. And my favorite feature is up at the top, you can switch it to 4x5, which means you can post that and it'll be sized perfectly for your Instagram feed. So you can toggle between the two, which I think is super helpful and a fun way to kind of rethink about your content. There are different, so many different ways you can do it. I love, for example, this one. I think it just adds like a really fun new way to think about posting content. You don't just have to post a picture. How can you kind of show it in a fun new way? So yeah, and you can edit within those templates. Say you want to add a preset in there, you can simply do that. You can do your adjust tools and you can copy and paste it to all of the templates that you're working on. So there are just so many fun little things, and I don't want to dive too hard into that, but it's a really fun app to play around with. And I'm constantly posting and sharing tutorials on our Tezza app account. So if you guys ever want to see something specific, please let me know. I'm happy to do it. And then I have one more slide. I have to reshare my screen with you guys, but before we jump into the Q&A, it's just about mastering your workflow. And I think this is so important because sometimes it can get stressful. There's so much going on social media, and feeling like you're keeping up with everyone is just overwhelming. So don't ever feel like you have to keep up with anyone. Just do your thing. That's first tip from me. But second is, give yourself a 3-hour posting window. I think we all probably, if you're looking at your analytics, that there is, a specific time of day that is going to be where your content performs best, where most of your community is online looking at your content. So definitely give yourself that window, and that way you just know when you're going to post each day. You're not overwhelmed by the idea of I got to get my post up every day. I just know it's going to be ready by that time because I make a habit out of it. Second is to obviously use Planoly to plan your feed. I think it's so helpful, and that way you're not stressing. You can feel a little bit ahead of the game. And then I love using the copy and paste feature, like I just showed you, to just help keep your same vibe. So that you I just think we're in a time where we really, first impressions are so important, especially on Instagram. So if you can pull somebody in within those first 9 photos that they see right when they come to your feed, they're gonna hopefully stick around. So I really like to make sure that those are representing, the mood or the brand that I'm trying to talk about and create. So Copy and paste is really helpful. And then just, making your everyday content or your everyday life a part of your content. I think one, everybody finds that relatable, and two, it'll make your life so much easier if you can just figure out, what parts of my life do fit into my content and how can I be resharing that. My favorite thing to say is if it's not broken, don't fix it. Meaning like you can reuse your good ideas. If something works, people engage with it, they like it, keep using that idea, try it again, figure out how you can, make that a staple, a part of your brand. Whether it's a pose or like it's a Monday. I of course my mind's blanking right now, but like the same smoothie every day that you have, like bring people back to the same piece of content that you're resharing and you're reintroducing in a new way. And I think that's a fun way to kind of just not get overwhelmed by having to keep one upping yourself, because that can be definitely difficult. And then last is just using your captions as a way to further your content, to get your audience engaged. So I really like to think about, there's so many ways to use captions. And I think whether depending on what kind of content you're creating, captions can really add to, and really asking your audience questions and getting them to engage in that way is so helpful, and definitely helps you understand, how people are viewing your content, understanding what they're liking about it as well, and will help you just to keep going and being the best creator that you can be. So that's me. And thank you guys so much for joining. And now we can move on to any questions that you guys have.
Thank you so much, Tezza. The chat box was blowing up. A lot of experienced photographers talking about the lenses, your app. You have a lot of fans on the app as well as the tripod. There was a lot of questions about that one as well. But I love this, and I love that you mentioned about storytelling and photography and how important that is. And everyone always think about writing with light. So we do have a lot of questions, and we only have a couple minutes left. So I will start with kind of the ones that I saw trend. So Scarlett asks, as a business, is it okay to change your IG aesthetic once in a while? Is it okay to choose different or moods, like 2 moods or something like that? Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think so. Like, I don't think, I was more saying that as like, this is a helpful guideline, because sometimes it gets overwhelming. Even giving yourself like a little motto is helpful, because I think that can kind of be like, okay, does this fall under my motto? Like, does this fit my vibe? But like, I have changed my vibe in my feed many, many times. I don't think you should ever feel like you can't do that. So like enjoy, explore, and like be creative. I think that's at the forefront the most important.
I agree. I've seen feeds go like start to change, but there's like a cohesiveness in like the group that you see on the feed, even if they start evolving. We have Anonymous. I absolutely love Tezza. I have been using it for years. One thing I struggle with is knowing when to adjust the exposure, lighting, brightness, etc. Any advice for this piece of it? Thanks so much.
I think, like one thing is just kind of like I said, looking at a picture that you like and figuring out what you like about it and try and emulate that, so you can understand if you are liking a brighter photo or a darker photo. I'm somebody that I usually end up shooting just a little bit darker than the photo I'm going to actually post, so that it keeps a lot of the detail, and I pull up the shadows and the exposure just a little bit. But I think anything, focusing on creating something that is the most realistic is the most helpful. So whatever your eyes are actually seeing, that's kind of what you want your photo to end up really looking like and feeling like. And so that might be a little bit helpful on that. Is there like a squeaking sound that I don't know? I keep hearing this.
Oh my gosh, let me mute myself. That's my bird.
No, it's cute. I love it. I was just like, I didn't know if it was me. So
He's usually quiet until we do Planoly Present. So I'm so sorry if you hear a squeaking sound. It's a cockatiel. um, I think we have time maybe for one or two more questions. What kind of lens do you suggest for jewelry and small product photography?
Yeah, so for jewelry, I would go with either like a 50 mm lens or a micro lens that can really get in there and focus. But also the iPhone does do amazing work. And once again, if you can just get your product in the right lighting, even if you just get like a little studio light and you can use portrait mode, I promise you'll be shocked at how good it looks.
Okay, that's really great to know. I know. See, okay, this is the bird, everyone.
Oh
There.
my
um,
God, love it.
so I think we have time for one more question. And I wanted to focus on video since that was a question we kept having. So Ian says, "Hi Tezza, so nice to see you again. We talked on Clubhouse when you and Cole did a panel. My question is about how you get such a smooth video even when you are riding in the car. Do you use your phone, a stabilizer? Thanks."
Oh gosh, great question. But I honestly, the phone actually has really great built-in stabilization. And I honestly use the phone for basically every video that I do. I just think it makes it so much easier. And also with video, I know I've just saying the same tip over and over, but the zoom effect is really amazing. So sometimes I feel like if you zoom, somehow it kind of cuts out any of the jitter going on. So yeah, use the zoom effect in the phone, and you should be good to go.
Okay, great. So we are at time, but I'll kept seeing, is it okay if I ask one last question? It was about, because I think everyone could relate, when shooting indoors, do you have any tips on creating even lighting?
Yeah, so face the window where the light is coming from. I use that hand tip. Like I'm always walking around my house, like trying to figure out where the best lighting is. And, I think like usually it's definitely facing the window. That's obviously even right now, there's a window in front of me, and I'm getting the best light that I can. And if you don't have like good lighting in your house, then I would recommend using a little flash of some kind. It'll really help.
Okay, and last thing, because it is in the, sorry, last thing, because it's in the chat box. What is the name of the tripod? And I've seen this multiple times, so thank you everyone for your patience. I know it's been asked a
Okay.
bit.
Crap. Well, 1 second. Can you give me 1 second?
Yeah.
I gotta just look.
So everyone, this is Tezza. So she's the founder of the Tezza app. That's the app she was using. I know a couple of people were asking about that. We will share, definitely follow her on Instagram. She's super inspirational. Her work is amazing. And
You guys, that's so
we
nice.
are getting you right now the tripod information because I know y'all been wanting it.
Can I drop it in the chat?
Yeah, we can drop it in the chat.
The link. Boom, boom. Wait, that's it. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, wait, let's see. Sorry, went to panelist. I can
Oh,
share it to attendees.
okay.
It's okay. Zoom gets a little confusing. Whoops.
It's called like UBZ, not UB size. UB, I don't know what it is, but there's the link. So enjoy.
Sorry, everyone. Now I'm the one having technical difficulties trying to get you this link. Okay.
Type in iPhone tripod on Amazon, it'll come up. It's
There we
right.
go. Everyone. Now everyone has the tripod.
Yes.
Please go right with light.
Yes.
And then Tezza, if you just want to say where everyone can find you.
Yeah. So on Instagram, if you type in Tezza, Tezza, you will find my account and also the app account. And we definitely love to share, creators' work on there. So if you guys, tag us and stuff, we love to share all of your amazing work. And slide into my DMs. Say, hey, I would love to chat.
Well, thank you so much, Tezza. Thank you everyone for joining us. We do have 2 more weeks of Planoly Presents, so make sure to sign up for those. And also the recording will be sent. I know there was questions about the deck and everything will be sent. You'll be able to see it in the recording. And we are also giving a free month of Planoly, so be on the lookout for that code as well. And thank you so much, Tezza. I hope everyone has an amazing rest of their day and go take beautiful photographs.
Yes. Thank you guys for sticking around. It means a lot. I hope everyone has a good day. Thanks for having me.
Bye.